That's not appropriate. We're not talking about mob actions. I didn't say that.
What happened
Okay, hold on a second, okay? Respectfully, these large gatherings, just hold on a second, y'all. I promise you, we have time to talk. It's important that we speak of these dynamics in an appropriate way. This is not to obfuscate what is actually taking place.
Be demonized.
Look, demonizing children is wrong. We have to keep them safe as well. Have you ever taught middle school? I have. Have you ever raised young people? Do you understand the risk that young people take just because they're young? Do you know that home plate is at the bottom of my stairs? I found that out when my son was sliding down those stairs trying to score. They're young. Sometimes they make silly decisions. They do. And so we have to make sure that we are investing to make sure that young people know that they are supported.
A few years later.
A 15-year-old boy was shot during a so-called teen takeover in downtown Chicago.
The question you're about to see about violent black teenager season came after a shooting outside a movie theater right by Navy Pier.
For a large group of kids fighting outside.
A fight that led to a shooting.
I'm getting several tickets for shots fired.
The call for help came in just after 8 Sunday. A 46-year-old woman shot in the arm walking down the sidewalk with her young son.
A 46-year-old female tourist who was here visiting from Connecticut. We need the city to gather around right now and dedicate the amount of police resources that the downtown area needs, or we're going to have another summer of madness and mayhem.
Boy. So we got to talk about Chicago. Why do we got to talk about Chicago? Well, mainly because woke Mayor Brandon Johnson doesn't want people like me talking about Chicago, okay? And we're talking about Chicago today because it is getting warm outside again, and when it gets warm outside in these liberal cities, the astronauts come out, right? The astronauts. They come out and play, right? AKA the young scholars, okay? The young scholars are now staging takeovers of Chicago in downtown Chicago. They've come out at night, okay, and they are being agents of chaos, which has led to multiple shootings, including a woman who was a tourist, right, just visiting Chicago and got shot in the arm, right, because of one of these agents of chaos, right? So you're just a tourist and you're visiting Chicago, there's a chance you can get shot by some random teenager. Also, on top of that, the latest story, a 15-year-old, a young scholar, was shot doing one of these teen takeovers in downtown Chicago. Take a look.
A 15-year-old boy was shot during a so-called teen takeover in downtown Chicago.
Courtney's in Streeterville with the latest and the video that was shot overnight.
John and Judy, good morning. Frustration is mounting among many in this area as the teen takeovers have started once again. Last night, in the middle of yet another, a shooting unfolding just a few hundred feet from where we are just before 9:45. The sound of those gunshots caught on camera. According to Chicago police, officers heard those gunshots and saw a large group running away. The 15-year-old boy was on the ground with a graze wound to the leg. He was taken by the Chicago Fire Department to Lurie Children's Hospital, where he was reportedly in good condition. Videos from the scene and those taken by residents and shared on social media show the chaos that unfolded last night. Hundreds of teens gathering and running in the street near Columbus Drive in Illinois, blocking traffic, fighting in the roadway, and throwing things like glass bottles and other objects. One man shared video with us of teens using stun guns during a fight in the middle of the road. He says he loves living in this neighborhood, but he is disheartened after recent events. He's hoping city leadership is listening.
You know, this is not the Chicago that we want people to take home with them. I mean, 2 weekends ago, right at this corner, the woman was shot, a tourist visiting from Connecticut. You know, that was shocking. Then seeing this, it's sad, it's embarrassing, and we just need to do better as a city.
It's not clear whether anyone was arrested, and if so, how many people during last night's incidents, or whether anyone else was injured during all of this. We have reached out to Chicago police for those answers. We've also reached out to the mayor's office this morning for a statement. While we are waiting to hear back from that, we just spoke a few minutes ago with Alderman Brian Hopkins. He's been calling for an earlier curfew for unaccompanied minors in this area. It's something that he hopes to get a vote on in April from City Council. Again, all of this, something that we've heard in the past, even last summer, as these concerns also rose in light of recent events. We'll keep you posted on the latest, but for now, live from Streeterville, Courtney Spinelli, WGN News.
All right, Courtney, thank you.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? The Agents of Chaos are back, right? And Brandon Johnson, for the most part, has been silent on this. Now, remember in the past, Brandon Johnson said that you're not supposed to demonize them, right? Because they're kids, they're children. You're not supposed to demonize these teenagers committing these acts of violence, right? You're supposed to give them a little slap on the wrist and, let them continue to terrorize the city, okay? And I want to react to this press conference here in which reporter William J. Kelly, who has officially become the most based reporter in the country after I listened to this press conference. He's going to press the Chicago mayor on the teen takeovers. Now, this is a couple weeks ago, but again, it's still very relevant to what's happening today. That story I just played about the young teenager being shot, that is recent, right? That happened maybe a day ago, okay? But this press conference happened a couple weeks ago, and I just want you guys to pay attention to how William Kelly confronts Brandon Johnson on what's happening. This is legendary stuff.
Summer in Chicago, sadly, is considered violent black teenager season in Chicago by a lot of Chicagoans. It kicked off early on Sunday when about 100 or so violent black teens descended on downtown, specifically the Streeterville neighborhood, menacing residents, culminating in the shooting of a... No, I'm sorry, you didn't interrupt anyone else. This is a very important question that a lot of people in Chicago are very concerned about. That culminated in the shooting of a tourist pushing a baby carriage down Illinois Street. I've spoken with a number of the Streeterville residents. They say that they're not only worried about the violent black teenagers, what really concerns them is that they feel that the mayor doesn't get it. You say that you're going to have summer jobs, you're going to put another $100 million into these jobs. They didn't work last summer. And the question is simply this. At that press conference yesterday, you said that you wanted a second term, you needed these young black people in order to get reelected. Is this spending the hundreds of millions of dollars simply an attempt to buy votes?
No.
There was Mayor Johnson. My follow-up question. Everyone got a follow-up question. Lori Lightfoot also told me that crime was down. Lori Lightfoot also tried to buy votes by using other people's money. Do you think that you will get reelected using Lori Lightfoot's playbook?
I'm focused on this first term.
Give me the mic, please. You have gotten your follow-up.
Yeah. So I gotta tell you, William J. Kelly is the most based journalist in the country. He called it exactly like it is. He said violent black teenagers. I cannot tell you how much cojones, how big your cojones has to be a white man to just straight up say exactly what's going on, right? Like at a press conference like this. He just flat out said it. He said he's a violent black teenagers. Crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a white man with this much cojones, right? This man deserves an award because nobody would have the cojones to call it like it is like that, right? Not even a black journalist, right? They wouldn't call it like it. They would just say straight up, these are black people and they're committing these crimes. No, usually they say things like youth. That's what they say, youth, right? That's what they call them. And this dude said, no, I'm not playing these games. I'm going to call it like I see it, right? These are violent black teenagers. Wow, I guarantee you Brandon Johnson was triggered at his core. He was triggered at his core hearing that, right? But, hey, this is what they do. This is what they do. They have no issues characterizing white people as violent, right? So, I mean, in this situation right here, hey, just call it what it is, right? Just call it what it is. I mean, everybody can see it. That's what everybody's thinking. So you might as well just say it, right? Just say what it is, right? This is what's happening. Again, this guy has cojones of steel, okay? But one thing that he brought up that I think is a good point is that the whole summer jobs thing, right? The jobs program in Chicago has not worked to stop these teen takeovers, right? That was the woke mayor's answer is that, no, we don't need to just lock up a lot of these kids. No, we don't need to do that, right? Don't demonize them. We need to give them jobs. We need to give them stuff to do, right? They're just stressed out from med school, right? Med school is stressing them out. Yeah, that's what's happening, right? So we have to give them jobs. And turns out, that hasn't really worked, okay? It hasn't worked. But again, this is progressive governance, right? They live in Looney Tunes world, right? Where they think that more government is the answer. Well, we just need to give more jobs. Like, no, the government should not be in the business of providing jobs just to be providing jobs. Now, if there are necessary jobs that the government needs done, things that are actually productive, right, that provide a positive return on investment, then yes, it is okay to employ teenagers. I think that's a good thing. But you should not just be creating jobs just to be creating jobs to keep kids from being agents of chaos, right? Because the kids that want to be agents of chaos, they're not being agents of chaos because they don't have a job, right? Because they don't have things to do. That's not why, right? They're agents of chaos because they weren't raised properly, right? That is likely the reason why they're agents of chaos, which reflects on the parents, right? The parents are the problem here. That's the real problem. And you're going to continue to have this problem until you address the parents, right? The parents, again, you have to address that. Once you fix that, then this problem is fixed. But until then, hey, you got to lock them up, right? You got to be tough on crime, right? There has to be severe consequences for participating in these takeovers, okay? That's what has to happen. But, again, woke mayor Brandon Johnson says, hey, don't demonize them. You're not supposed to say anything bad, right? And, it'll all go away with some government spending, right? More government money, which, again, I think that William Kelly here is pointing out that a lot of this stuff, again, is being used in order to buy votes, right? Hey, let's just, create all these imaginary jobs for these kids and hope that they vote for me, right? Or that their parents vote for me or something like that. That's essentially what's happening here. I just found it to be hilarious how William Kelly confronted Brandon Johnson. And, Brandon Johnson, he doesn't really have anything to say about it at this point. Because, what can he say, right? This dude, he's more unpopular than the Democrat Party. His approval rating is actually in the single digits, okay? Single digits. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.